Welcome to this tutorial on how to layer or daisy chain normal maps in Maya Arnold. So I've got this sphere, and what I've done is I have daisy chained, linked two normal maps together. So here's one and here's the other, and they're both tileable and both taken off the internet. So I'll be using these in this tutorial. So just to demonstrate, in the hypershade we can see there is a normal map node here, and if I adjust the strength of this, you'll see this is affecting the large rocky texture. This normal map node, if I turn this up, you'll notice that it's adding the second texture to the first. So there's an interesting blend going on. Now if I turn that back down again, just notice that the maps can be, as they're tileable, the size of them can be adjusted in the place texture node here. So we've got the normal map node, we've got the image node which has got the normal map in it, and the place texture, which if I click on that and go over here to the attribute editor, we can look at the repeat UV channel, and if I turn that up from 2 to 4, you'll see resizing the normal map. So there's an enormous amount of flexibility here. Right, let's start from scratch. So I'll break this link. How do we do this? And I'll just put these to one side. I might do a blue Peter later on if it doesn't work. Right, so the first thing we need to do is add a normal map to the sphere. So I've created a sphere. I've added an AI standard surface to it by right clicking, assign new material, shader, AI standard surface, and here we are. Okay, so to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to AI standard surface on the right and go all the way down to geometry, and let's go to the bump mapping channel here, click on the checkerboard, go to file, and then it sets up the nodes. Now what I need to do to start with is find that normal map. So I'm going to go in here to file, and here we are, and I'm going to find the image. So I've got rough rock normal map, and I think I'll choose this one. Okay, we'll open that. Okay, and here we are. Now this looks promising, but it's not right. It's not quite accurate. Let's take a look at what's going on. This node here, the bump node, by default is set to use as a bump map, not a normal map. So we have to look at the controls in the attribute editor, and we need to change this, we need to change this from bump to tangent space normals. And now we're getting something that looks a little closer to what we want. and we've got the bump depth control here, but interestingly nothing much is happening. And something I've noticed with the older Maya nodes, they seem to be being replaced with the new Arnold ones, so we'll come back to this. We've got our normal map in here. In the file node, we must change the color space from sRGB to RAW, and this will give us a more realistic looking normal map. And then let's go back to here, right to the end of the chain, place 2D texture, and we can make this smaller. So if we go down to repeat UV, I'm going to take that up to 3. And it's interesting if you want to stretch textures in this way, and 3 here, and that's looking a little bit better. Okay, right. Now, I'm not happy about the lack of control here, because if I go to bump depth, I'm in Maya 2020, nothing much is happening. So let's swap this out for the new Maya node, shall we? So I'll just sever that connection and right click in the hypershade, create node, and what we want is normal, so I'll type in normal, AI normal map, here we go, and I'm going to duplicate this because I'm going to use 2, I'm going to daisy chain 2 together, so I'm going to go up to edit, duplicate, shading network, so we've got one placed here for now. Right, so this one, let's just delete it, and this time instead of out alpha we need out color into input and out value into normal camera, and there we've got something that I think looks superior, more accurate. That's quite extraordinary. That's really, really nice. Now I've got specularity switched on just so it kind of helps the visibility somewhat, but obviously we'd have to think about the material we were using. We're just looking at the normal map effect. Now what I want to do is I want to daisy chain another group together, but what I'll do now is I'll create a new node. Sorry, it's the file. I'll create a new node, file, and click on that, and then it's set everything up. And let's load in a second normal map, shall we? So I'll go here to the file and let's find a rough rock, and I'll open that, and then remember we have to check the color space in the file node. It must be set to raw for normal maps. Now out color goes into input, and then out value. How do we connect? Where do we put this? So to link them together we need to use the connection editor. So I'm going to go up to Window, Connection Editor, and here is our little box which will allow us to link them together. So on the left we have outputs, on the right we have inputs. So this is our output and this is the input. So I'll click on the output first and I'll reload that, and then I'll click on the input and reload that too. And you'll notice they don't look the same, and that's because if we go up to the left display we've got show readable, show non-keyable and show hidden. And it's a good idea to have that set up so you can see the same mirrored channels. Right, now this, the output, here we need to look for the message. So here I'm going to click on message, and the message is going to be plugged into the normal. So I'm going to click on that, and straight away, now normally we should get a blue bar, but we can see here that they are connected. So if I just minimize that, you can see, oh, I've lost it now. Will that work? Still seems to work. Let's just try. So I'll just lower the strength of that, and you can see that our new rougher rock texture is mapping over it. So that's a really effective way of layering normal maps, which gives you enormous power. Let's just see, before we go, we can experiment. So if I bring down the larger map and I increase the strength of that, you can see the flexibility. And I could, if I wished, add yet another daisy chain, and you can continue doing that to create really sophisticated textures.